House. Welcome back, everybody. It's 14 after the hour and time for us to go behind the headlines. We're in Colorado. They have rolled out some 30 new rules for the marijuana industry. These are rolling out today, according to the state's Marijuana Enforcement Division. I'm sorry, the new rules were released Thursday, but they're already in effect here. So this was released from the Marijuana Enforcement Division that changed such things as the startup licensing fees, and the rules for cultivation, production, edibles, sales, employee training, and product testing. And they even note right down to a hand washing requirement. And that kind of surprised me when I read it, because I thought, wait, there's not already a requirement that somebody washes their hands if they're going to be handling our medicine, our buds? Okay, but there we go. We now have a hand washing requirement. There was a very controversial provision of this that was discussed, and we discussed this in Washington State as well with a gentleman, and I believe it was at the Main Street Marijuana Shop in Vancouver. That's it. It was a Main Street Marijuana, and the guy was from Canasol, and he was talking about sun-grown marijuana. And Colorado, as they were proposing these new regulations, were proposing a rule that would make it so greenhouses could only produce half as the amount of plants as indoor warehouse grows could have. And of course, all the sun growers threw a fit about this and pointed out how environmentally damaging that kind of rule is. Of course, if you present an incentive for someone to grow inside, if they can grow twice as many plants, you're just wasting more energy and resources to pull that off when sun-grown marijuana can take far fewer resources and, help us reduce greenhouse emissions and such. So they changed that. In the new rules that came out, there is no distinction between a indoor warehouse grow and an outdoor greenhouse grow. The same number of plants, 3,600, are allowed at the level tier 1 productions there. The Enforcement Division also established vendor training requirements for safety and public health requirements for anybody manufacturing edible marijuana products. I believe that would include that hand washing requirement. Glad to hear that we've got that. If they have to wash their hands to make my Subway sandwich, they should have to wash their hands to fill my bag of buds. But here's some good stats that came out of this. Marijuana occupational licenses. If you want to work in the marijuana industry, you have to get a card from the Marijuana Enforcement Division. The Marijuana Enforcement Division has told us now that they have issued 18,666 occupational licenses. There's the jobs we're talking about. And that's just the direct jobs that come from marijuana. That's just the people who directly touch the plants, the buds, the tinctures, the edibles, and so forth. Doesn't even begin to count the law firms, the compliance specialists, the software trainers, the product packaging manufacturers. There's so many ancillary industries that have been bolstered by this marijuana legalization that for every one of those 18,666 jobs, there's got to be at least 3 other jobs that are feeding that job as far as supplies, logistics, and support. They currently note there are 496 licensed medical shops in Colorado and another 242 recreational stores. The state has received 177 additional applications for recreational stores and grow operations that could be approved by this Wednesday. So let's see, 242, 342, and another 77. It's 400. We're rapidly approaching having as many recreational marijuana shops in Colorado as we do medical marijuana shops. Another controversy that was addressed by these new regulations had to do with finalizing the single serving size of an edible. Single serving size of an edible in Colorado will now be limited to 10 milligrams of active THC, and any item that contains multiple servings will have to clearly mark how many servings are in it, right? So if you're talking about a soda bottle and it's a 16-ounce bottle and it's an 8-ounce serving, then you have to indicate the bottle has 2 servings in it. In the case of things like chocolates and edibles, they have to be clearly marked to be able to break them apart into serving sizes. So this is some good news, especially as the reaction to Maureen Dowd and other high profile over medible cases, people who've used too many medibles and gotten themselves sick, has been a real black eye to legalization, and really one of the only downsides that the opponents have been able to seize on. So it's good that our industry is getting a handle on this and being proactive about the amount of THC per serving. Now, there's also some testing requirements that have changed. Not only will there be testing for potency in edibles, but also for chemicals like pesticides in the presence of fungi. But there is a serious problem, in my opinion, with the new testing rules, and that is marijuana testing facilities will only test product from licensed cultivation centers, not home growers or medical marijuana caregivers. This is really disturbing to me because it sets up this situation where, as a consumer, the only safe place I can get marijuana that I know has been tested is going to be from a pot shop or from a dispensary.
There are times where I've fallen off the wagon.
But why shouldn't a medical marijuana caregiver or home grower be able to certify that what they're growing or supplying to patients matches the same stringent requirements as we require of the commercial growers? That just makes no sense to me. If we're going to have a standard, let everyone meet that